Kyle Shanahan. How's he doing
Mm.
so far? His team's 3-0.
He's doing good, man. I mean, especially like watching the film, he's dialing up a lot of creative shit. I mean, sorry. He's dialing up a lot of creative things. He had he's doing like a lot of like traditional sets like 22-12 personnel and then breaking out to like empty sets, 3x1s. He's moving Christian all over the field. He's getting creative, and with how he's calling the games, I mentioned this on the show that I did yesterday. Is that everything is professional, right? But you be lying to yourself if you would rather work with somebody who you like, right, rather than somebody who you don't like, right? And with that, I don't think that Jimmy and Kyle liked each other. And you could
Mm-hmm.
tell in the way of how the games were called, you could tell that Kyle would call games more along the lines of, you need to do what I'm asking you to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost as if that the plays that are being called are to utilize the skill set around you and to also, in a way, highlight how you are limited. I want everybody
Thank
to see
you.
what I'm working with. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like there was a huge swath of plays that Kyle would call when Jimmy was our quarterback, almost as if to force him to be utilized a certain way and to show that, hey, look, this guy that I'm using is like holding me back as a play caller. Like it's not me, it's him. Right. But with Kyle, you could tell he's calling plays, man. Like he is dialing everything up for Brock. He's trying his best to get not Debo in the best position, not Brandon Ayuk in the best position. He's calling plays for Brock. The plays that Brock likes, what he like, it's no mistake that Brock likes the double move on the outside so he can have time to throw the ball with anticipation and get it out there. He doesn't want to just throw a pure go route. He doesn't have the velocity right now to get the ball out there. So Brock likes to throw those double move routes, those sluggos outside of the seams, and Kyle calls them up for him. Right
Mhm.
when we start games, Kyle doesn't call anything in harm's way or inside of the numbers for Brock. What does he do? He calls screens. He tries to get Brock the ball out of his hand quick. He moves the launch point. So I feel like having Brock here is getting the best out of what we're seeing out of Kyle because if you look at uh the first game of last the first drive rather of last night, 15 play drive, 3 points. You look at the first
Mhm.
drive against the Rams, right? That drive was double play plus. Christian McCaffrey closed it off, scored. You look at the drive with Pittsburgh, long drive. So we're opening games very well. And I feel like Kyle is doing a good job with his decision making against Pittsburgh. He outcoached Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin got spooked, got desperate, started calling fourth downs, got us in a bad position. Also with the Rams, I feel like he outcoached Sean McVay, stood his ground, and they I'm sorry, I'm looking for the right word. You kill me with this word stuff today, but like
Only if it's
uh
Yiddish.
yeah. But they made the adjustments with Coach Wilkes with going from off man coverage to zone beaters to getting up in man coverage. So and then in this game you see that Kyle made the decisions to go for it on fourth down. He uses the sneaks with Brock. He's calling better plays. I just you can't say much
Brock and
about.
McCaffrey bring out the best in Kyle, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do bring out the best in them, and also what we've also learned is that this offense is not thank you CB Niners. It's not this offense is not this economic like booming money ball entity that it was first started out as. That's not what this offense is. We got to own the fact that if this offense is working, it's working because we have high price players who are top 3, at least 5 in their position to make this offense work. That's why this offense is working, right? We're not doing this with a Matt Breida, or we're not doing this with a Josh Wilson or a Raheem Mostert. No, we're doing this with Christian McCaffrey. That's why this offense is working, right? We're not doing this with, Dante Pettis or Kendrick
Marquise
Bourne
Goodwin.
or Marquise Goodwin or Pierre Garçon or River Craycraft. We're not doing that with them. We're doing this with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. So I know that Kyle is calling a lot of stuff up. Great. Awesome. But at the same time, you got to also realize that this offense is working because we're doing it with some of the best parts and pieces in the business.
Yeah.
And it really popped once we got the final piece, which was Christian McCaffrey.
CMC. Brian says, if not for special teams fluke, it's a 30-6, 9 at worst, and this feels like a much more like a blowout. So if the Niners played better, they would have won by more. I agree. Now, they did have some special teams gaffes, those 3 penalties. 3, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Jeff
so,
Wilson
yeah, good
Jr.
point.
Yeah.
Nicolo Credit says, why was Wilkes in the booth all game? Shouldn't a DC be on the sidelines with the team? Am I tripping, or is that just a thing DCs do? A lot of coordinators stay in the booth. Kyle stayed in the booth.
Yeah, he did in Atlanta.
It's it's less emotional. You get a better view. Mm-hmm. Stephen Pryor says Kyle seems to be making adjustments to the defense a lot faster than he has in previous years. I would agree.
I agree with
Stephen Pryor says if only Kyle could keep his top practice squad players and not lose them and have to play Shamar Jean-Charles.
Who's that?
He played last night. He had a penalty on special teams. Quantrez Knight could have played instead. Is Colton McKevitz good enough? Asked Marco Bravo. No.
No. He's not.
Unfortunately.
No. Stop smiling.
Deshaun Henderson says off topic, but going to my first Niners game next Sunday against Cardinals, any good food spot recommendations? In Santa Clara?
I don't stay out there.
They got an In-N-Out burger. They got a Five Guys. They got Chick-fil-A. I don't really know.
They have franchise places. They got
franchise places in Santa Clara.
Yeah.